Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to the next talk on our complete reading of Valmiki Ramayana. And in today's talk, we will be learning the story of Maharshi Valmiki. Maharshi Valmiki wrote Ramayana, we all know that. Now, how did Maharshi Valmiki write and what is his story? How was he brought up? All that we will try to look into in this particular talk of ours. Now, there are many stories on Maharshi Valmiki. Some say the Ratnakara story, some say he's a Kirata, all this stuff. But one thing that I am using, the source that I am using for this particular talk is Skanda Purana. And in Skanda Purana, we have this story of Agni Sharma, which many scholars agree on as the authentic story of Maharshi Valmiki. Now, again, I am not discarding the other stories which are there in the world. I really don't know the veracity of them. But for one of the stories for which I have the veracity, I am picking that up so that we all can know more about Maharshi Valmiki. Now, Maharshi Valmiki, that was not his given name. His original name was Agni Sharma. They were a wife and husband, Sumati and Kaushiki, and they were born into a Brahmin family, and they had a son called Agni Sharma. And at a very young age, the father tries to make Agni Sharma learn Vedas. For a lot of time, Agni Sharma learns Vedas. It will become very tough after some time, even to make him learn Vedas, because he was not picking things very easily. So learning Vedas was not so easy, and he was actually struggling to learn them. After some time, in the entire place in which they were living, they are affected by a very bad famine. So Agni Sharma, by the time grows up, now he brings his older parents, they actually grew old, and his wife and all, near a forest. And in the forest, every day he goes out and he tries to figure out, the kandamulas, means the things which are growing under the surface of the earth. So, like yam, and potatoes, stuff like that. He tries to, they are called as kandamulas in Sanskrit. So he brings all of them, and every day the family lives on it. But then after some days, he actually ends up meeting some thieves, some dacoits who rob the travelers. Now, these travelers who in those olden days, they used to, to go to a city to city, they had to cross forests, and and the people who were crossing this particular forest, these robbers used to rob them. Now, Agni Sharma joins that band. In a few days, he actually becomes a member of that band, and all of them together, they used to rob robbers. And after that, those bands get disbanded, and on an individual scale, everyone would go seek out, figure out if somebody is traveling, and they used to rob. So that was basically the lifestyle of Agni Sharma at that point of time. Now, one day, as he was roaming in that forest looking for people to rob, or find out if there are any kandamulas, then there are 7 men whom he sees who are traveling. And who are these 7 men? These 7 men are the Saptarshis. Saptarshi is a very important term in Indian Sanatana Dharma, and the Saptarshis are considered to be the most important of all the sages, whom we all know about. So, who are those Saptarshis? I'll just given their names so that it will be much easier for each of you who is listening to this, for your reference. So the first one among the Saptarshis is Kasyapa, then Atri, Bharadwaja, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni, and Vasistha. So these are those 7 rishis who are walking, and now Agni Sharma stops all 7 of them and says, "Put everything you have down, or else I am gonna kill you." Now, amongst them, one rishi, his name is Atri Mahamuni, Atri Rishi, he steps up and he says, "Oh man, why are you doing such bad or such sinful works? Because whatever you are doing today, it's going to give you a lot of sin. And once you leave this Sharira, you are going to have a lot of tough time with your Sukshma Sharira in hell, because there's a lot of sin that you are accumulating by doing activities of this sort. So why are you doing this?" This is what Atri Mahamuni asked. Then Agni Sharma, he thought for a while and said, "See, I don't know what's this all about, But see, I have a family to feed, and this is the only thing I know. Then Atri Maharshi again questions him, okay, if it's only a family that you're trying to feed, do you know something? You are doing a sin by trying to feed, I mean, by trying to rob the people, and then you are saying that you are doing this for the sake of your family. Now go back to your family and ask if they would be taking any part of this sin that you are committing. Then Agni Sharma says, see, my family loves me a lot, so they'll stand for me, they'll also take part. And if I am being punished, they'll say, no, no, give some part of the punishment to me. That's what they'll also say. Atri Maharshi says, no, 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 go back to your family and ask them. If you are sinning only to just to feed them, then you are actually on the wrong track. Now, this man goes back and asks his wife and kids, see, every day I rob people and get that money to feed you. Now, there are some rishis who came and told me that I am making sin and I'll get this is papam, and I'll have to go to hell and all due to this papam. So are you guys going to take a part of it so that my sins will get reduced? Because after all, I am doing this just to feed you. His wife says, see, my job is to cook the food that you bring in home. I am really not concerned about the way in which you bring the food here. Same thing would be told by all of his children and even by his parents. Now this Agni Sharma suddenly feels remorse. He says, Arey, I am doing this, but see, everyone knows that this is sin and they are not taking a part of it. I am being asked to take the entire portion of this sin, this papam. My life is gone. So realizing this, he runs back to the Saptarshis and he says, no, my family says the sin is all mine. See, this is an interesting concept in Sanatana Dharma, where whenever a husband does anything good, whenever he earns punya, whenever he earns anything by his good deeds, that is shared with his family. Means his wife and kids also get a part of it. But whenever he commits any sin, that would never get transmitted to his wife or kids. On the contrary, whenever the wife and kids do anything good and earn any punya, that would actually stay with them only. But whenever they do any papa or any sin, half of it gets transferred to the father or the husband. So this is the man being the head of the family. He gets a share of their papam, and he never gets a share of their punyam. And his papam, it never goes to them, and his punyam always gets shared with them. So for a man who is in Sanatana Dharma, it's extremely important to do good deeds, to do charity, to do puja, and earn as much punya as possible, because that not only helps him but also his family a lot. And also, it's important to stay away from the sin. Now, Agni Sharma came back. He who picked up this bad profession just to feed his family, thinking that he's being loved and all that gets shattered because they say we don't want to take care of that. Now, realizing this, he falls at the feet of those rishis and says, give me something through which I can cleanse myself of all these sins. Then Atri Maharshi, so there is another story here where people say that Atri Maharshi at this point of time, because he did not want to give the Rama mantra, he told it as Mara, and because he was doing the, and since Rishi Valmiki was doing the japa continuously as Mara, 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 it became Rama, Rama, Rama. And so there is a story, but again, I don't have the authenticity of it, so I'm not really telling that. But in Skanda Purana, it was told that he was given a mantra, and and it was Panchakshari. So he sits down there and he starts doing that mantra for a long, long time. After a few years, I think it's like close to 12 or 13 years, uh, the rishis would be traveling back. And here, when they were traveling back, here they see an ant hill, and from the ant hill, some sort of light would be coming out. So, yeah, it was actually after 13 years. So, after 13 years, these rishis were walking back. In the place where they gave this mantra to Agni Sharma, there was an ant hill, and from the ant hill, a sort of light was coming out. They come and they realized that it was the same man, and for 13 years this man was doing the same japam of that same mantra. Now, looked at it, having looked at it, they suddenly realize that this man has become a great person because of his 13 years of dedicated effort. Now, and these ant hills and all, they're actually called as Valmika in Sanskrit. So, because he came out of that Valmika, they call him by his name. He comes out because he came out of Valmika. He was called as Valmiki. So now the Valmiki Maharshi comes out of it, and then he asks them, "What should I do next?" Then they tell him, "Okay, this is wonderful." They say, "Kusasthalya Sudhagamya Samaradhya Maheshwaram." Kusasthalyam Adhagamya Samaradhya Maheshwaram. So you go to Ganga. There's a place called Kushasthali. There you set up a lingam of Lord Shiva, and from there you start doing the aradhana of Shiva over there. So that's where Valmiki Maharshi is there. And now this Valmiki Maharshi is on a daily basis doing everything that needs to be done, because there are two types of karmas that people need to do. One is Nitya karma, which is like Sandhya Vandana, which every man is supposed to do in the morning, daily puja, and all these are called as Nitya karma. Naimittik karma is like, if it is a special day, for example, if it is Shivaratri, you do Jagarana, you do Upavasa, those are called as Naimittika karma. So this Valmiki Maharshi was there in Kushasthali. He was praying Lord Shiva, and he was doing all sorts of Nitya Naimittika karmas that he was supposed to do. And one day he finds a lady who is pregnant. He brings her to his place, and she delivers two twins, and he knows who they are. He knows that she is Sita Ma. But till now also, as per Ramayana and Ramakatha, Valmiki Maharshi does not know about Ramayana as yet. He doesn't know Rama's entire story as yet, and he is living in his ashrama. So that's the story of Valmiki Maharshi. Now, what happened in Valmiki Maharshi's life? How did he start writing Ramayana? That's going to be our next talk. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.